Key West, Florida is not the biggest place, but there are plenty of things to do there. In this video, we're going to look at some of the best destinations and activities on this laid-back island in southern Florida. Visit Mallory Square. Mallory Square is in the middle of all the action and is one of the most popular things to do in Key West. Hundreds of people gather here every night to watch the magical Key West sunset. You'll find street performers, musicians, and vendors selling all kinds of foods. You'll find yourself in the middle of a party with a festive atmosphere. It's a must-see for anyone visiting the island, but especially if it's your first time there. And if you like the idea of having a drink in your hand while you watch the sun go down, check out Bistro 245 an hour or so before sunset. The bar and restaurant is next to Mallory Square, so you'll have a front row view. Bar hopping on Duval Street. If an exciting nightlife is more your style, check out the bars along Duval Street. Fort Lauderdale and Miami Beach might be the most well-known spring break destinations in Florida, but you can spend endless days bar hopping along Duval Street too. The most famous bar in Key West is Sloppy Joe's. It opened the day after Prohibition ended in 1933 and was one of Ernest Hemingway's favorite spots during the years he spent in Key West. There are plenty of other bars with fun things to do in Key West though. Hank's Hair of the Dog Saloon offers live music throughout the afternoon and into the night. Right behind Hank's you'll find Garbo's Grill, a food truck that serves tacos and burritos with an Asian twist. Garbo's is one of the island's best options for cheap eats. If rum is your drink of choice, be sure to check out the Rum Bar. They have a long list of rums to choose from and their rum runners are amazing. Some of the other most popular bars include the Green Parrot, the Bull and Whistle Bar, and the Bourbon Street Bar. Learn how rum is made. For all you rum aficionados, you can even learn how it's made and do a tasting at one of the distilleries in Key West. The Key West first legal rum distillery was the first to open, as you can probably guess from the name. It offers free tours all week. The 15-minute tours run every 20 minutes, so you can drop in anytime. Papa's Pillar is a newer distillery that makes rum named in honor of Ernest Hemingway, who was well known for his love of the amber elixir. Its tours are a little longer, lasting 45 minutes. They also offer cocktail classes so you can learn how to make some fantastic mixed drinks. Take an unforgettable ride on a floating tiki bar. Before we move on to non-drinking activities, we have to mention the floating tiki bar. You can cruise around the island seated at a tiki bar, sipping on a tasty tropical cocktail. You can choose from mangrove tours, sunset tours, or swimming tours, or even take a private tour with up to 6 friends. Lounge on one of Key West's gorgeous beaches. Key West isn't that big, but it offers a surprising range of beaches, from popular hotspots to more private and secluded options. Smathers Beach is the island's most popular. The 2-mile stretch of white sand is on the south side of the island near the airport. You can rent beach chairs, umbrellas, paddleboards, kayaks, and Hobie sailboats from vendors along the beach. If you bring a volleyball, you can also strike up a game in one of the courts on the beach. Fort Zachary Taylor Beach is in Fort Zachary Taylor State Park. There is a small cost to this one. You'll pay $6 per vehicle to enter the park, with lower prices for motorcycles, bicycles, and pedestrians. It's open from 8 a.m. to sunset all year round. You can do everything you would expect at a beach in Key West, like sunbathing, swimming, and snorkeling, but there are some other interesting activities too. Take a yoga class on the beach, go fishing, or tour the fort for a change of pace. Harry S. Truman Little White House. President Truman reportedly spent 175 days of his presidency in Key West, in a building that served as his winter White House, starting in 1946. Official documents issued while he was there read the White House, U.S. Naval Station, Key West, Florida. In the years since, several other presidents have used it as a retreat, including Eisenhower, Kennedy, and Clinton. The historic building offers tours that run every 20 minutes. There's even a VIP white glove experience that goes past what you see on a normal tour. Check your budget for the white glove experience though. You'll spend more than $500 for the tour. Visit the southernmost point in mainland USA. Key West is the southernmost point in the continental US. Hawaii is the only place further south in the entire country. And if you want to visit the actual southernmost point, you can get your picture taken beside the official marker. At that spot, you're only 90 miles from Cuba. Take a relaxing day trip to the Dry Tortugas. Dry Tortugas National Park is a group of 7 small islands at the end of the Florida Keys. They're surrounded by reefs that have caused many shipwrecks over the years. The U.S. took advantage of these reefs, creating one of the most strategic harbors in U.S. history. Most of the park is water, but you'll also find coral reefs, nesting grounds for several types of bird, and historic Fort Jefferson. You can tour the fort, go swimming and snorkeling, or camp on Garden Key. You'll need to take a seaplane, ferry, or private charter to get to the dry Tortugas. Plan on spending at least half a day on the side trip, but budget a full day if you can. Take a boat tour of Key West. Boat tours are great because you can combine several activities in one. You can choose from sailing, snorkeling, or kayaking tours, as well as sunset cruises and fishing expeditions. Several tours are designed for dolphin watching. The waters off the island are a refuge for hundreds of dolphins every year, so you'll see plenty of them swimming alongside your boat. If you choose a snorkeling tour, you'll likely end up at the Florida Keys Reef, which is the only living coral barrier reef in North America. It's about 6 miles offshore, and the shallow waters are ideal for beginners. Key West Lighthouse and Keeper's Quarters. If you don't mind heights, the Key West Lighthouse offers some beautiful views of the island. You'll climb 88 constricting steps to get to the top for best views. The balcony at the top is also quite narrow, so you'll need to be patient if you go at a busy time. After you take in the views, you can look around the Keeper's Quarters, which date back to 1848. The cozy quarters are a museum now, offering a look at the history of lighthouses in the Keys. The lighthouse and museum are open every day except Christmas and are located directly across the street from the fantastic Ernest Hemingway Home and Museum. Ernest Hemingway Home and Museum. Hemingway is one of Key West's most famous residents. He lived there from 1931 to 39, and his house is now a historic landmark. His home is one of, if not the most popular thing to do in Key West, Florida. During your visit, you'll learn about Hemingway himself, as well as lots of great Key West history. Your admission fee includes a 20 to 30-minute tour of the property, and if you're a cat lover, you'll be in heaven. Hemingway's property is home to lots of them. When you see one, check out their tiny paws. They're famous for having 6 or 7 toes. Other famous residents. Author Judy Blume spends a lot of her time in her home in Key West, and the island is where Jimmy Buffett got his start in 1971, when he started his musical career by playing for drinks at the Chart Room Bar. Even Bob Dylan has a connection to the island. He spent time in saloons on Green Street going back decades, as immortalized in his song Key West, Philosopher Pirate. Now it's time to hear from you. Did we miss any of your favorite things in Key West? Let us know in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Viewcation if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.